How you doing, everybody? Randy Richard in the shop. So this is going to be the first real drawing of our steam engine, and I'm calling it the Fusion engine. Now over here I've made a folder, and that was just by clicking on new folder, and then I'm going to double click the folder and open the folder. I'm calling it the Fusion engine. The engine we're going to build was originally made by W. Austin. We'll give him credit for drawing and designing. The Oregon home machinist, as I've mentioned before, and Pat Wicker, he's one of the founders and president. He has given me permission to use the drawing, so we'll give him credit. And the Oregon home machinist, the group is now defunct, but like I said, Pat's given me permission to use it and share all this with you. We're just going to go right along here, and a few things I want to get out of the way though. So here's your sheet. You have your no drawings or anything. But what you want to do is go over here where it has your name and click on Preferences on the upper right. John Saunders of NYC CNC just did a video recently, and he has a lot of videos on Fusion on his website and on YouTube. So you can go back and see these. But one of his recent ones on setting preferences, he shows a lot of stuff in there, but it's well worth it to go and look at. He goes through and explains some of the preferences to make your computer work a little better and faster with Fusion, and it's well worth it to go and look at and set some of the preferences. One other thing to check out is go to the Fusion website and type in keyboard shortcut PDF and print this out. This is keyboard shortcuts. It's 4 pages, and it shows you a lot of hand shortcuts on the keyboard that really speed up the drawing of things. So go through and print this and have that handy. It can really help you out. I have a copy sitting right here. Now, I don't use all these shortcuts, that's for sure, and some of them I don't know what they do, I be honest with you. But I do use quite a few, so it really helps. So print that out. Okay, let's get started on actually drawing something. So right off the bat, we start off with our untitled drawing, and we're going to save it. What do you guys want to call it? Let's call it the Fusion engine. So that's going to be the highest level of our drawing is going to be the Fusion engine, and we're going to have quite a few parts to the engine, or we're going to call them components. The first component we're going to start with will be called the base. So right off the bat, we want to make components right off from the very beginning, and all the history will be contained for that piece, that one part or component. All will be contained within it. That way, as we go through, it's very important about the history thing. Maintaining your history at the bottom here, it will have the timeline, and so you can go back and edit and make sure things are in the right order and to complete your component. So one other thing we have here is the units of your drawing. Mine's in inches. That's in the preference I set it for default of inches, and I can change it anytime I want. If you want it to be in millimeters or meters or feet, centimeters, whatever you want. And you can do this anytime during the drawing or halfway through or whatever. I draw everything in inches except for stuff I do to 3D print, and then I do it in metric. So we're here, the little fisheye indicates my active component, and I'm going to create the base as my first component. And so I'm going to right click on here, create new component, and there it is, component 1. And we're going to we just click on that and then click on it again, and we're going to rename it to base, so we know what it is. Now it has the fisheye, and if you want to change back to the main component to create another component, you can just click on that, and now you're up here as if you wanted to make the next component. Like the next component, we could say new component would be, what would it be? The next component could be the cylinder. Okay? And so on down the line. It makes it and it's selected. Now if we want to change to base, we just click on the base. That's where we're going to be. Then underneath each one of these, click on these arrows, will expand that level. And the little light bulb will turn on that layer or level, whatever you want to call it. We're going to turn on the origin for the base. Now, we have to create the first sketch on a plane or on a face, right? Well, we have no faces, so we have to use a plane. And we're going to just choose this one. We're going to choose the XY plane and Y, because that's what I'm going to choose. How's that? It's just convenient. This is my Z plane. I'll extrude into the Z plane, and it will work out in the total scheme of things. So we're just going to select the XY plane, and I'm going to right click on it and say create sketch. That's the fastest, easiest way to start a new sketch. You can use up here, sketch, create sketch. You can hunt for all the other commands. All these commands have shortcuts, and we're going to learn to use shortcuts. They're much quicker. It's just easier in the beginning to start right off with the fastest and easiest way. All right, so first off we're going to do a line. We're going to start a line right in the center. So we hit L for line, and I have the little squiggly line on my cursor telling me what command I'm at, and it says first point. Click in the center. I'm just going to draw a vertical line, and as you can see as I move it, it kind of catches on that axis there, or down on this axis. And that's because you're passing through basically a constraint, but that way it helps you if you want to draw this at 90 degrees. And I'm just going to click there. It doesn't matter, and you'll see here it wants to draw another line, and if I hit escape, it ends the command. The length of this line doesn't matter. It's going to be the side of our base. We're going to draw the end profile of the base first, and this will be a reference side. So we're going to put it right on the axis. So now we're going to draw some more lines. And we're not going to care the angles. We're not going to care about their lengths or anything. Because as we go through and dimension it and complete the sketch, we're going to go through many features and for the learning experience, you can say. So we're going to hit line again. We're going to draw another line across the base, and this, boom, whatever it is, right? And then we're going to the base has angled sides on the bottom. We're going to put an angled side. It comes over here. It goes up here. It goes over to this line here because we said that's a reference line, and we can say escape. And we can start down here. We can do the same thing, angle line, and if I touch that line and draw over, it will help me make that the same height as that line, right? And then I come over to this line like that. So there's the basic shape form of our base. Now this line here is a reference line. It needs to be the same height as this, but we see it extends. There's a nice little command called trim, T, and the part we're going to trim will turn red if we select that part. If we select this one, whatever we select will turn red. We're going to trim, so select that one and just click your mouse and it's gone. All right, so let's trim one other line. The bottom of this line goes down here, and we don't want that, and so we trim that out. So now we have our basic profile of our base. We're also going to add a reference line that's important a little farther down the line here, but we're going to put it in now because it makes it a little so we can make this symmetrical and such. And that's a line that just not all right. So as we zoom in here, let's put it this way: as you go across this line, you see it forms a triangle. That's marking the center of that line, or the midpoint. Make the line somewhere outside of that midpoint, just anywhere, but not on the midpoint. And then we're going to make that a line. We're going to select it and hit X, and that makes it a construction line. The construction line will not affect forming the body. It's just for referencing. And we're going to hit dimension, D for dimension, and we're going to say select this line and this line, and give it a dimension. It's 0.225 inches from this other reference. So this is a reference, and this will be a reference. But this also starts to form our dimensions for the whole base. So the next dimension here from our reference line, construction line to this side is 0.205. Now you see how it's going to start to form up here. The dimension from the top to the bottom is oh, it's already there, 2.1 inches. What luck. There we go. Dimensions for an angle. This angle to here, just hit D for dimension and select those two, and it comes up with an angle. So it knows it's at an angle already. And it's going to be 60 degrees. Now, if you don't want to sit in your picture or frame, you can drag that down here if you want. And we're going to make this one the same. Right, 60 degrees. I'm going to drag it down here. Now, symmetry on this is we're going to center it around the construction line, the dimension line we drew for symmetry of the base. So the dimension of the baseline, though, is not 4.5 inches, it's 3 inches. Now, that didn't work out too good, right? But if we go over here to symmetry constraint, click on that, click on this point and this point, and then we click on this to be symmetry around that. We all shifted, but we lost our position. We don't have our origin back on this line, our axis. So that's really not what we wanted to do, right? So we can go back, and we're going to use this fix feature. We're going to click on fix, say fix this line. And we're going to say fix this line. So I don't want them moving because they're references. Hit escape, and now we'll go back and do the symmetry here and here around this, and everything shifted in the direction we wanted it to shift. Now we're looking really, really good. The only dimension I don't have is the dimension from base to here, dimension here to here, and that's going to be 0.3. And this side also. Okay. Now, I had to put in 2 dimensions, and a lot. It'd be nice if you didn't have to do that. So if we take that, we're going to get rid of the back up here a spot. I could just say that this line here, this line, and this line are collinear. This line and this line are collinear, and then I don't need to see. I use that collinear constraint right here, as you see here. These are all these little constraints showing up, and now I only have to put in the 1 dimension. So if I put in 0.4, they both go up and down, right? You want to try to, I don't know if you want to try to use as few or as little. The more dimensions you use, the more it's constrained, type of thing. But all these little symbols you see are constraints. So here we use the symmetry constraint telling us those 2 points will be symmetrical around this line. We have parallel constraints. This line here will be parallel with this line. These little T looking things are 90 degrees or perpendicular constraints. That corner will be perpendicular, which will make this corner perpendicular. And this line is said to be vertical. That's what that is. And this one's horizontal. So this is really a fully constrained, even though the lines are to turn black when it's fully constrained enough to make a body, but these are still blue. But I know it's okay to make a body here. I'm not sure what's missing, put it that way. You can see how this is a light color. It also turns blue when I select it. It's enough to form a body. So we're going to say stop sketch. We're going to back up a second. I'm going to go down here. You can see our history forming, and I'm going to say edit feature. Okay, one other thing we're going to do is we're going to do an F command, which is fillet. And I want to, in the sketch command, let's do it within sketch. Sketch here, fillet. And right here, these 2 corners need fillets. So we're going to click on that corner and make it a 0.25 fillet. Or it's like that. Put in the dimension, and we're there. You can see that. Now I'm not going to do it on this side. I'm going to show you one other method to put in those fillets. So we'll say stop sketch, and that's what we have. It's in one plane, two-dimensional drawing. Now if you hit Q, Q is press pull, and we select the feature, and then we can drag it and extrude it out. It's also called extruding, as the command box says, extrude, and we're going to punch in 4.188 as the dimension. There we have our first body formed. And if you go back, you can go back here and say edit feature if you wanted to change something where he says new body. The distance was the one way, and we typed in our distance, and we started on a profile plane. Now, many of these little boxes that jump up all have a lot of options, and I'll try to explain what most of the things are. So let's go in. I said we could do a fillet a different way after the body's formed. You can go here, modify or fillet, or press F, and we select that edge we want to fillet, and we can just type in 0.25 and form the same fillet. A different way to do it. All right, now we need to form the pad for the cylinder, which is on this side. So we're going to write. There's a couple ways we can do it. We can draw the feature on this side, or we can draw the feature on this side. If we draw it on the feature on the end plane, it will make it easier to dimension because of the dimension that they have for it. It's from the reference plane. You gotta remember that this side is the reference side, the reference plane. So we're just going to right click on the end, create sketch, and we're going to draw a rectangle. R for rectangle, or 2-point rectangle, and we're just going to, I'm just going to draw it in here. It doesn't have to be, I don't even have to have it attached. I'm going to have it the same height, I think. I'm just going to draw this rectangle in here. Now I know it has to be 1.25 inches tall. Now the top is where the cursor is, the blue highlighted dimension, and I don't care what that dimension is right now. So I hit tab and I can go jump to the other dimension, 1.25. I know that one, and I'll say enter. And now I've drew a rectangle, but it's not attached or anything. It's not really fully dimensioned and all that. It has some constraints for vertical and horizontal. Well, I want this to be attached to this. So I can say collinear, and boom, there. Now that's attached. And now you see how Fusion formed a constraint line here. This is a referencing constraint that it formed. So it knows that now it's attached. Well, this dimension up also on the top now is not right. So we're going to delete that dimension and say D for dimension. And from here to this side is supposed to be 0.6. Now that's set for that dimension, and it also created more reference points and reference lines. I've formed my pad for the cylinder. I have my height, I have my width set from the proper reference location. We can say stop sketch. We can say Q or extrude. Q works good, and we're going to go down here 1.76, I think it is. Whoops, wrong way. Change the sign of the dimension. Say OK. There's the pad is formed. Now we need to put a hole in here and a counter bore. So let's just right click on that, create sketch. We're going to do this over and over and over again. Select a surface, create a sketch. We're going to go C for circle, and we're just going to put a circle on here. I don't care where, I'm just going to put it on here. But I do know the diameter, so I'm going to put it in now, so I don't have to go back. 0.7. And we're going to D for dimension. From the center to here, we select, and it's going to be 1.5. And dimension from the end in is 0.869. And you'll see more constraints are being formed from Fusion itself, which is these are fine. These are all good. Stop the sketch, and we'll do the extrude right now. We just keep doing this over and over again, and minus 1.5 to make it cut into the surface. There we go. Pretty simple, right? Then we're going to go now we need a bore put in here. We're going to select that surface, right click, extrude. We're going to do another C for circle. We're going to touch that, and we should get the center end. And I didn't know why it's not coming up with the center. It doesn't really matter. We can just put it anywhere. It's 0.3125 for this bore. Because we can go over here to concentric and select that circle and select that circle, and now they're concentric. Stop sketch. We can do a push pull again, or press pull. Select that, and we want it through here, right? Now we're going to say through all, and so we're not referenced and stuck on that one surface. If we drew something else out here, it would pass through it, and that's what we would want. And it's a cut to cut through the material. There, now we have our bore. Pretty cut and dry. Now, there's some bosses. There's going to be a boss and a bore here, and a boss here, and a boss here. So I think we're just going to do, since this is our reference surface, we're going to draw the bosses on this side. So I'm going to right click, oops, cancel, wrong one. Right click and create sketch. Circle, boom, boom. We're just going to place our circle. And it's going to be 0.7. And we're going to make it concentric. Okay. And we're going to place our, we are going to have another, we can do this all in one sketch if we want. So we're going to just kind of hover on there and get a line. Put a bore, 0.7. This is our boss. We're also going to do another circle in the center, 0.375. Now we have it all in one sketch. Now we're going to stop sketch. Now we're going to do some extruding. We're going to extrude this one right here. Now, as you can see, it's not selecting the center because I don't want the center either. I just want the outer part as the hub. 0.5, from that surface, from our reference surface. Now when I did that, I lost the other sketch portions, right? So what we do is we just go up here to open our sketches and turn that sketch back on. And all it does is turn it off automatically. And then we can do another extrude right here. We'll just do the ring for the boss, and that comes out how far? 0.130, not very much. Now the boss on the other side, I could come over here and draw that as a separate boss, or I can just use the boss or ring I drew on this side, because it's referenced from this surface and I drew it on this surface for my how far out it's going to stick, right? So my drawing shows it's 0.772 from the end of the boss to this surface. So I can say extrude, select this ring, reach right through there and select that ring and take it out the other side, 0.772. Oops. I made it. I didn't change it to join. I had it as a cut. 0.772. There we go. Now I have my boss at the right length from the right reference surface, and it's all the same, all concentric and everything. I just don't have a hole in it. So we can say extrude again, select the center, and you'll see that it just is not, what's it put this way, it's just, the center is just not in the middle, just this part is solid. So really I don't have to extrude too much, do I? Because I didn't extrude it here and there. So we just hit extrude, select that, select this side as a cut, and I cut the center out. Right? Now I have all my bosses are formed. So I think that will conclude this video so far, and we have the ports on the end to do. We have the ports on for the cylinder to do on this surface. We have profiling to put in over here, and we have some lettering to put on. So the next video we'll get to some of that, and I think this will be 3 videos in all, so be sure to watch all the rest of the videos. I'll release them all at once so you can go right through them if you want. Some will be shorter than others, you know, type of thing. But anyway, so we'll stop here and give you some digestion, and you can please watch the next 2, and we'll get this part finished up in the next 2 videos. Thank you.